Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
All right, welcome back to the show. We've got a great guest for you today. We've got Michael Bluemling Jr., and he runs a company or is the founder of The Power of One, a disabled veteran-owned company based in Richmond, Virginia. And to promote his message that each person has the power to deal with adversity and move forward, no matter the circumstances. And he's the author of several books. But first off, Michael's overcome the abuse of his past to achieve a fulfilling life. And after high school, he served in the United States Army, obtaining the rank of sergeant. And he received the US Army Commendation Medal and 2 US Army Achievement Medals and many other awards. And he was honorably discharged from the military, and he's held various positions in the U.S. Department of Labor and at the Department of Veteran Affairs. Welcome to the show, Michael.
Thank you very much, Tracy, for having me. I really appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to our conversation today.
Awesome. Thank you for your service. I'm very grateful and appreciative of your sacrifice that you made.
Absolutely. You know, it's we got to take the time to really reflect and think about, especially with Memorial Day this weekend, about the people that have made the ultimate sacrifice for our freedom and serving your country. It really means a lot, and I have a lot of respect for our brothers and sisters who have equally served our country.
Absolutely. So let's just get right into it. Tell us about your business and what types of customers that you're helping.
Well, my business is based on inspirational writing and inspirational presentations, keynote speeches, seminars, things of that nature. And the whole idea is to impact two groups of people, which are individuals who've been abused and transitioning soldiers and veterans. And to do so, I've written several books and published several already. The first book I wrote was Turning the Page, Overcoming Abuse to Reach Life Fulfillment. And it's a self-help book designed to help people who've been abused recover and move forward in their lives positively. And the second book that I recently published is Bridging the Gap from Soldier to Civilian, a roadmap to success for veterans. And it's designed to help transitioning soldiers before they leave the military prepare. And then once they do transition, to help them get acclimated to starting a business and networking and their psychological well-being and their educational opportunities, but also assisting veterans who may not have had these resources available to them, and also helping them once, in their transition as they're still trying to build their personal and professional networks.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you being such an advocate for our veterans and service members. So, Michael, what led you to this field and how did you get started?
Well, it was funny. I got out of the military and, I had a really hard time transitioning. 6 months with getting out of the military, I scored really high on the civil service exam. I started working for the post office, worked for them for about 4.5 years. And, it just didn't feel like that was the right fit for me. So kind of left the government, and I didn't have any education at the time. I still had my GI Bill, but I really wasn't educated on how I could use my benefits. I really didn't have a good mentor in my life. That's one of the things I try to, help with my books and the information I'm trying to give now to others, to give them that information that wasn't available to me. And I bounced around with some, minimum wage jobs, like working as a server and working 2 jobs and working like 70 hours a week. And it was horrible. But as a disabled veteran, I got into vocational rehab, thanks to another veteran who pointed me in the right direction. I got in with the Department of Veterans Affairs. And then I was an investigator for the Department of Labor with the Office of Federal Contract Compliance Programs, working in affirmative action, equal opportunity law. And I met a veteran, and he said, "You need to use your GI Bill." And he was a veteran as well. And I went back to school. And during the time that I received the 3 degrees that I have a business degree, I have a master's in human resources, and I have a graduate certificate in organizational leadership. During that time period, I started to form my ideas about my company, and I really just fell in love with writing. I never knew that was a skill that I had before. And so when I started writing a lot of papers and, all the things that you have to do, the capstone projects and all the different things you have to do as you go through your educational advancements, I started to think to myself, well, how can I take this knowledge, skills, and abilities I have and share that with other people? And that's when I started Power of One 3 years ago.
Awesome. I can tell that you're very inspired and motivated, but along the way, was there a book that's really impacted you?
Yeah, the one book that always, I'm a very positive person. I really believe in positive synergy. And the motto of my company is faith plus determination equals fulfillment. And so when you have faith and you're determined, you can have your fulfillment in life, because it's not really about success. It's about, your fulfillment and where you want to go. But one of the books that really have always stuck with me is The Secret, because I always feel like what you put out into the universe is what you attract to you. For example, if you're dealing with alcoholism and drug addictions, and you're in a space where you're hanging around like-minded people that are doing similar things, it's going to be very difficult to break out of that cycle of going to those crutches, so to speak, so that to break away from it. But if you put out into the universe with professionals and like-minded people and people that you're surrounding yourself with that want to help you develop and they want to help you reach your goals in life, I believe that can be a very successful strategy. And so The Secret has always really stuck with me, to be a really helpful guide to help you think about things in a positive way versus, getting down when things kind of drag you down, or something, that you expected to happen didn't happen, because we always have those days where we think something good's going to happen and something opposite happens. So you just have to be prepared to always be thinking strategically and positive, personally and professionally.
Absolutely. That comes up often when I interview entrepreneurs and business people. So thanks for sharing that with us. Michael, tell us about, I feel your passion, but what makes you get up out of bed every morning to do what you do? What drives you?
I'm simply driven. I was severely abused as a child by my father. I was actually reported dead on TV, and I was 5 years old, the first episode. And my dad was a veteran. He was in the Army and Navy. And I think as an adult, I started to, understand that, veterans in a different era and different experiences and things that were accepted previously that aren't acceptable now. And I didn't want anybody in this world to make the sacrifices that I've had to make or go through the experiences that I've been through. And I want to take all this positive attributes that I've been able to gain in life to overcome the adversity. And I want to share that with everyone so that they can be positive. For example, it took me 9 years from the time I transitioned out of the military as a Sergeant E5 to the time I started to get my GI Bill. But if I had the right processes in place and network and people involved who wanted to help me, I could have done that 9 years previously. So if I can take that 9-year gap that I had, give a soldier who's transitioning time now, which my book does exactly that. It gives them the information. As soon as they step out of their BDUs into their civilian life, they have all the information right there. They just have to gravitate towards it, grab it, and run with it. It's really that straightforward in the book. And when you're able to do that, you're able to really prosper, and you don't have to make the same mistakes or deal through the struggle. So I want to take all my experiences and give it to somebody so I can help impact their lives in just in a catastrophic way that just goes beyond anyone's perception of the value of working together as a team. And that's what Power of One's about. One person and a group of people that are working together. And when you keep multiplying the force multipliers, before you know it, we have a whole culture that's changed, and people are trying to actually help each other instead of, positioning themselves for the individual aspects of business or entrepreneurship or, of the transition, if you're looking at it from a soldier perspective, because there's so many opportunities out here. It's really for us all to share together.
Wow, that's very honorable of you to be doing that, and your mission is very critical. But what are you finding to be the misconceptions that people are finding, or you're finding out when they transition and they don't have access to this information? What are you finding out, and how can they overcome those?
Well, I think two of the biggest challenges that soldiers transitioning veterans are facing specifically when they go through their transition is the lack of information. For example, if you're trying to piecemeal things together, that's why it's really good if you're mentoring a soldier and a veteran to give them a warm connection with somebody that's a direct contact that's going to give them direct information today, not that something that's going to wait 2 weeks, or they tell them they have to fill out this piece of paperwork, or they have to go here, or they have to go here. You physically have to go with that person. For example, here in Richmond, locally, I do a lot of stuff with veteran organizations and also, nationally as opportunities come available to me. Recently, someone's on a board of an organization that a Purple Heart veteran who was injured in Afghanistan, and he got him in my direction. So the other day, we hung out at the gym, and, we took some time together, and I was talking to him, and I could really tell at the end of the day that that really meant so much to him. Those are the kind of experiences that veterans need. They don't just need, a blank check or, somebody to just say, hey, go over there and figure it out. They really need someone there to help them maneuver and get through the processes. And the second thing is that there's a lot of misconceptions in the business world about veterans and some of the, the elements of serving our country and the ramifications of that and how they're going to be integrated into the civilian culture. Veterans are, designed at a very high level through their training to come into an organization and have an immediate impact. So it's more the misinformation about how we can coexist in the working environment. I think some of those barriers really distract veterans from really high-paying quality jobs that they're qualified for. So I think if we can educate, the civilians, and civilians can be educated on how the veterans, our demeanor is, or, some little things that, may trigger things, like, for example, loud banging noise behind us or something, of that nature, where it would startle a veteran, where a civilian, they may hear a loud noise behind them and it won't bother them. So the simple things like that really go a long way to making someone feel like they're a part of the organization and they belong and they're accepted. And so I think those two factors are the biggest factors, and those are a lot of the misconceptions that I want to help change and make a difference. And, the long-term plans I have with my company and starting a private foundation is connecting end users directly with thousands of providers across the country. So when a soldier's transitioning and they're setting their goals, that they can go directly to the source and we can just eliminate all those barriers that are there.
Perfect. Thanks for sharing that with us. Can you describe for us or share a story how you've helped someone overcome some of these obstacles?
Right now with my book, I've been getting a lot of positive feedback where people are reading my book and they're like, wow, this is really making a difference. And, this is something that every soldier who's transitioning needs. So right now it's the grassroots effort of getting my book out there and people getting the book in front of them and realizing the information that's in there. Because a lot of times when people pick up a book and they see it at face value, you really have to dig into it. And my book it's a very short read. It's about 120 some pages. It's not difficult to read, but the response that I've been getting back has been tremendous in the short period of time the book's been out, because it came out April 1st. So one of the direct results, though, that I had, I'm working with a financial company in California right now that is potentially going to partner with me or sponsor a 50-city tour. So I'm going to be able to have seminars across the country in 50 cities. So this is in development stages right now. But he read my book, and he isn't a veteran, but he really can understand and relate to the book. And it's just a lot of information that's very invaluable, not only for veterans, but anyone transitioning. So there's a lot of opportunities there that go beyond just, helping somebody who's transitioning. There's a 7-step process for each chapter that really helps people dive into the experiences to change their lives. One of the things about writing self-help books is helping people understand that this is something that could impact your life, but it's understanding that you're not going to implement every strategy in there. But if you can generate 2 or 3 or 4 ideas that are going to really impact your life, I think that's what really will change lives and really help people succeed.
That was a great explanation. Thank you for that. What would you consider the first thing that a veteran should do when they're ready to separate? I know there's challenges in the workplace about PTSD, about employing a veteran. So how can these veterans prepare themselves for this?
Well, the very first chapter in phase 2 of my book, phase 1 is before the soldier leaves, but phase 2 is actually once the soldier transitions. And the very chapter 4 of my book is psychological well-being. I believe that you have to prepare mentally before you prepare physically. So the mental preparation begins before you transition. But once you transition, you really have to get acclimated. I served overseas. I was in K4 in 2000 on a combat deployment and combat veteran from that deployment. And I served in Germany for 3 years of the 3.5 years that I was overseas. And when I came back to the United States after being gone for 3.5 years, it was a total different atmosphere. I hadn't been around my family. I hadn't really been around anybody except my brothers and sisters that I was serving with in the 1st Infantry Division and, the units that we were attached to while I was serving. So when I came back, it was like a whole new world. And then another thing is once you take your BDUs off, you're just, you're a regular person just like everyone else. So outside of, if you got a short haircut or something that, identifies you like tattoos or something like that, or if you're wearing a military hat, people really don't know whether you served your country or not. So I think those things, understanding that, this environment is different and that you have to be able to translate what you learned in the military and then apply it in the civilian sector in a way that you can thrive. And I think that's a challenge, and that's something that's in my book that I think is a real emphasis to help people understand that this is something that exists and we can't just push it to the side, but we got to talk about it. And, I think feelings and understanding one another is really important.
Yes, that's all great. Great points, and thank you for sharing those with us. So I understand that you've been nominated for the Fedex Small Business Grant. Is that correct?
Well, I'm one of the businesses that's in the running for the grant. It runs until June 13th, so everyone can vote every day. If they go put in Fedex Small Business Grant and they put Power of One LLC, you'll be able to find my business in there, and everybody can vote every 24 hours. And then after June 13th, they're going to pick 100 businesses, and of the 100 businesses, 10 are going to win a grant, and the top person of the top company of those 10 companies is going to win $25,000. So right now I'm trying to generate the votes, but it's not only on the voting, it's also on the attributes of what your company's doing and the ability that it's going to, succeed in the future. So I'm really excited about it, and I'm hoping that I can get a lot of people engaged. A lot of things with these platforms and grants with something like this is really the people in your network. For example, I have I think around 7,000 connections on LinkedIn. If everybody voted once, it could have a tremendous impact. So it's really just people talking about it and understanding fully what I'm doing. So, interviews like this are really helpful.
Awesome. Congratulations on that. How do they vote? Where can they go to vote?
Yeah, they just go on you could just Google Fedex. It's on my website, actually. If you go to powerofonellc.com, there's a pop-up box right on the front page that pops up, and you can put vote for Power of One LLC, and you'll go right there, and you vote through Facebook, and it takes 5 seconds, and your vote gets cast, and you can do that every day until June 13th.
Awesome. So, and congratulations again on that. What if somebody's ready to get started, or we got some veterans listening and they want to reach out to you? What's the best way for them to do that?
Well, there's several ways. They can go to my website, powerofonellc.com. They could call me on my cell phone. My phone number is 804-334-6038. And they can also send a message on the website, and they can email me on the website as well. So there's a lot of different ways that people can reach out. I'm on Twitter. M. Bluemling Jr. is my handle. I'm on Goodreads. I'm on Amazon. I'm on Tumblr. My blog is called The Power of Infinite Pursuit. You can follow it on there. You can also go on Facebook. I have a Facebook group called American Veterans for Change Today, Not Tomorrow. So we're growing. We have about 150 members. So anybody who's interested, who's a veteran who wants to be involved in conversations and to helping to facilitate change for, those in need across the country, definitely recommend you to go try to join the group there.
Awesome. So you're available for speaking opportunities as well?
Oh, yes. I do inspirational presentations. I've been doing several book signings at Barnes & Noble since the book came out. Every week, pretty much since April 1st, I've been having a book signing. If you go to my events page on thepowerofonellc.com or on Amazon, Michael Bluemling Jr. on my author page, all my events are on there. I have a speaking event coming up here at a local church in Richmond. And I also have, I'm working on a Veterans Day event right now at Hampton University. So there's a lot of opportunities for speaking that I've done in the past, and I'm open to new opportunities as well.
Awesome. Well, you gave a lot of great information for our veterans, and I really appreciate you being on the show, and best of luck on your grant submission. And thanks again for being on the show, Michael.
Thank you very much, Tracy. It was really a great conversation. And any veteran who's in need or a soldier who has any questions, just reach out to me. I'm here to help, and I can get you in contact with the people that can help you if I can't do it directly.
Absolutely. So thanks again. Happy Memorial Day, and never forget the ones that paid the ultimate price. There you have it for this edition of the show. We'll see you the next time.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.